I'm just going to read the passage. As I was saying a minute ago, the man posted about the first 4 verses, and I found out when I opened my Bible that it was actually more verses than what he posted.
Yeah.
But in this particular psalm, it says up at the top, David's Psalm of Praise.
Yeah.
There was another place that I was reading where it talked about where David was in a cave.
Yeah.
So see, not every day is going to be a high day in the Lord.
Right. See,
Some days are going to be the mully grub days.
yeah, David was
Some
hiding
days-
from his son.
Some days
Absalom.
is going to be up, some days is going to be down.
I say David was hiding from his son Absalom. Absalom was trying
But
to
that's
kill
what
him.
it was saying over here. I think it was
Yeah.
in the other psalm that it had intrigued me to see up at the top of the psalm but this one was the David's Psalm of Praise.
Yeah.
So what's he doing? He's actually praising the Lord. But in this particular passage, there's some good verses in this passage, but at the same time, there's one verse that ain't so good.
Yeah.
You're always going to have a bunch of verses that maybe will be all good news, but then there will always be that one verse that sort of puts you back to reality. And that's just the way the verses is written. It says in verse 1, it says, I will extol thee, or I will praise thee, extremely praise thee. That word extol means to like praise times 10.
Right.
I will praise. I will extol thee, my God, talking about David, O King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever. Now he's going to say that a couple of times. Every day will I bless thee,
Yeah.
and I will praise thy name forever and ever. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable.
Yeah.
See, we can only begin to search, but it says that his greatness is unsearchable, meaning that it's impossible to search him, that you'll never ever get to the point where you feel like, okay, now I have attained what the Lord is saying. No, it's unsearchable. As much as what we might know, as much as what I might know about God, I know nothing about God like I need to.
Right.
So that's what he's talking about. One generation shall praise thy works to another. Talking about another time or another generation. And shall declare thy mighty acts. I will speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty and of thy wondrous works.
Yeah.
Now, we might not be getting nothing out of this, but the more we read, we ought to be able to say, okay, Lord, talk to me. Well, he is talking. David is talking. It says, and men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts. Notice that it says, and men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. Talking about men will Yeah, it is. Men is slanted, and shalt speak of the might of thy terrible acts.
Yeah.
Now, some people's going to go and say, well, that means that God has got a terrible act. No, in the heart of men, people have a terrible act. It says, and men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. Meaning that men can say what they want to, but I'm going to praise the Lord.
Yeah, that's right.
He's basically making a choice.
Yeah.
They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy righteousness. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion.
Yeah.
Now listen to that, y'all. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger, and of great mercy. You see that? Of great mercy. Not just normal mercy, but of great mercy. The Lord is good to all. Ain't that wonderful news?
Yeah.
The Lord's good to all, but not all believe in Him.
That's right.
But He says the Lord is good to all, and His tender mercies are over all His works.
Yeah.
Everything about God is good.
That's right.
All thy works shall praise thee, O Lord,
Yeah.
and thy saints shall bless thee. Talking about who's the saint right here? The people that believe.
Yeah.
The people that know Him already.
Yeah.
They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom and talk of thy power. See, we ain't even begun to know the power of God.
No.
We ain't even started with the power of God. To make known to the sons of men His mighty acts and the glorious majesty of His kingdom. See, it's so big and so marvelous that we can't even begin to know. The kingdom is an everlasting kingdom,
Yeah.
and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. Right there's a message in itself. This wasn't just for David in his day, it was for our day, because it says in all generations. Well, how many generations are we in from the time when David lived?
Right.
Could we be 40 generations from the time of when David? Could it be 50? Could it be 100? We don't know, but the number of generations goes on and on from the time that David lived till our very day today. We are in that generation. Thy kingdom is everlasting, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. The Lord upholdeth all that fall. Now listen to that. The Lord upholdeth all that fall, and raises up all those that be bowed down.
Yeah.
This is a good example. When Deborah fell yesterday or day before, whenever it was, me and Gavin both went to her rescue. When she yelled out and was laid on the floor, she could have easily broke her hip.
Right.
She could have easily been at the hospital today.
Yeah.
She could have been in surgery today. The way she landed on the floor, it could have actually have caused her major hurdles
Yeah.
that she would have had to have intensive care. I'm talking about being in a nursing home for a month.
Yeah, I know, Brother Kelly.
I'm talking about something that is breaking.
Yeah.
But it says here, The Lord upholdeth all that fall.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? And raiseth up all those that bow down. And it goes on to say, the eyes of all wait upon thee. The eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their meat in due season.
Yeah.
Imagine. Thou openest thine hand and satisfiest the desire of every living thing.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
The Lord is righteous in all his ways and holy in all his works.
That's right.
The Lord is nigh unto them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth.
Yeah.
You forgot to say all right there too, where it says unto all them. You didn't say all, you just said
Unto
them.
Unto all, I said all them.
Yeah, you did.
The Lord is
second
nigh, the Lord is nigh, meaning the Lord is near to unto all them that call upon him,
And then
to all that call upon him in truth. He will fulfill the desire of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry and will save them. Carolyn, read verse 20.
The Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy.
Now let's focus on that verse. Let's focus on that verse. She read it. She was alert enough to read it. The Lord preserveth all them that love him. Do we hear that?
Yeah.
But all the wicked he will destroy.
Yeah.
Now, what wicked is he talking about? We want to think that the wicked that he's talking about is the wicked people that are mean people.
Now, what he's talking about is unbelievers.
Exactly.
thought about
Thank
what?
you, Sheila.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying it, because it didn't have to come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
He's not talking about a wicked person like somebody being a thief or a robber or someone that does mean things to kids. See, we think of wickedness as wicked things, mean, a thief, a robber, somebody that is just vile,
Yeah, by the
a killer, a murderer, a rapist. I mean, you name anything that would go with the word wicked. That's not what David is talking about. What David is talking about, the Lord preserveth all them that love him,
Yeah.
but all the wicked he will destroy. The wicked is the ones that are unbelievers.
And believe me, they plenty of
Unbelievers. People that are not saved. You can be in the church and not be saved. You can be in amongst the church people. You can even have your Bible open. But when I read this verse, this is the verse that I wanted to hone in on, because all of these other verses is all great verses, and we all can be able to go and say, oh yeah, God's a wonderful, loving, and a mighty and a truthful God, like all the verses that we read. But right here, the Lord preserveth all them that love him. So the question is, who loves him?
The ones that know him.
The ones that know him.
Yeah.
But the ones that don't know him, the Lord looks at them as being wicked. Do you know what wickedness is?
The opposite of goodness.
Well, I don't know about that.
Good.
There's a lot of people that are good people that are unbelievers.
Yeah.
So that right there shoots holes in what you just said. Even though that it sounds right, the opposite of wicked is good. You're right about that part.
And the word.
But the good of a person, I can be a good, wholesome. But let me say it this way, Sheila. I don't know the woman that was here a minute ago.
Beverly.
You do.
Yeah.
You know her. You know all about her. I don't know nothing about her. See, I could go and say she's a good person. I don't know if she's born again or not.
Yeah.
See, because I don't know her. No matter how good she might be, Sheila, I don't know where she stands with God.
Yeah.
I don't know where people stand with God. It's not given for me to know. It is given for me to read the verse. The Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked he will destroy. Now, why would God want to destroy wickedness?
So it doesn't happen again by the same people.
No, a wicked person gets what they deserve.
Well, I didn't say that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. A wicked person gets what they deserve. See, if a person ends up in hell, they get what they deserve. The rich man in Luke 16.
You drop in your pocketbook
I know.
every few minutes.
If you look at the passage in Luke 16, you will see the man that was the rich man. Was the rich man a good man? Yes. I'm convinced he was a good man. He fed Lazarus. He gave him food to eat. He gave him nourishment. He gave him food. He gave him his leftovers. And he supplied for Lazarus's food. But when the day that Lazarus died, Lazarus went to Abraham's bosom, meaning a picture of heaven. But the rich man went to torment. Was he a good man? Yes, he was a good man, but he was an unbeliever. He was not saved. He did not have salvation. So the point is, if a person don't have salvation, they can be a good man all they want to, but in the eyes of God, God looks at them as wicked. That's what it says right there. But all the wicked he will destroy. Now, I was sitting here a few minutes ago petting that cat. And as long as I was rubbing him behind the neck, he would have still been sitting here.
Yeah.
But you know, that cat was letting me know something. Either I was doing such a good job with that cat that he turned his head around and lightly he was biting me on the finger.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the cat is a bad cat?
No.
No. It was his nature to tickle and to scratch with his tooth. He wasn't hurting me.
He was kissing you.
He was basically showing me tender affection.
I like it.
Well, here's the thing. A wicked person can be a good person too. A wicked person, an unsaved person, can be a good person. The lady that was here a few minutes ago, Sheila, could be an outstanding person. But if she's not saved in the eyes of God, God looks at her as a wicked person. That goes for me. That goes for Deborah. That goes for everybody. That goes for everybody that's going to look at this video right here. I'm taping this without my little stand. I've got my little tape on right here. That goes for everybody, that you can be a wicked person in the eyes of God, but be as good as gold. And you can be a wicked person, because it says there, the Lord preserveth all them that love him. Ain't that wonderful? My granny, when my granny was alive, she would always tell me, Kenneth, get up and look in the refrigerator and get me the bottle of preserves. You know what she was asking for? The jelly.
Yeah.
She was asking for the jelly because it was sweet. It was good. You never left the jelly out of the refrigerator. After you opened it, you always refrigerate the jelly
Yeah,
because it would preserve. But
Yeah.
she would call it, get up and get the preserves. When I see the word preserve, I think of my granny. I think of her telling me to get up and get the jelly. She didn't ever say get up and get the jelly. She said get up and get the preserves. The Lord preserveth all them that love him. What makes the jelly stay good? It's in the cool environment,
yeah.
because it was put in the refrigerator. It can't go bad if it was in the refrigerator. So the people that are wicked are not in the refrigeration of the Lord.
No.
They're not protected by God. Is that hard to believe? That God would chastise a wicked person even though they are a good person? In the eyes of God, they are wicked. They just are wicked. There ain't no other way to say it. But all the wicked, notice what the Bible, read that verse, Carolyn, again, verse 20. You read it.
Verse 20. The Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy.
And all the wicked he will destroy.
Okay, well, a good example of that, Brother Kenny, was the flood afterwards. Was I can't remember, was Psalms written before the flood?
No, it was written after.
It was written after the flood, but
Right.
we'll go back to the flood. See, God dealt with Noah, and he allowed Noah to preach
Well, sure.
120 years. But none of them believed except Noah. And so he said,
Well, it took
flood,
120 years to build the boat.
right into
He preached, yeah.
120 years.
And there was a lot of innocent people that couldn't get into the boat.
Right, but none of them believed. Nobody believed him. Like God allowed him, he'd give them time.
Well, you know, here's the good thing about that. He even left the door open for a period of time after the boat was built and after the animals was on the boat. He left the boat door open for 7 days for people to come on the ship, but people didn't ever see the rain.
So you know, they probably wasn't that many people on the earth after when the flood came, because you know it was beginning. The earth hadn't been formed too long, and it kind of.
I don't know how many people was on.
No, nobody knows, but God allowed them. I believe God allowed Noah. And you know the word spread all around. Hey, he's building a boat, and it ain't never rained.
Well, they thought he was crazy.
Yeah, but
They
God
thought he was crazy.
Allowed him to be preached to 120 years, and nobody believed. So that's an example. He destroyed every but because of Noah's
But get
faithfulness,
back to the lesson. Was any of them people good people?
I imagine
Probably
lots
was.
of them was good.
A lot of them was great people.
But
They
didn't
was
believe.
probably honest.
But they didn't believe.
They was kind to their neighbor. They was friendly to their animals. They could have had all kinds of good things. You know, honestly, now I thought about this the other day. I thought about Deborah one day during the day, just thinking out of my head. You know, what would I say if in the event, if Deborah was to die, what would I say, or what would anybody say? I don't even know who would speak her funeral. I have no idea. I don't want her to go nowhere. I want her to stay, and I want her to live, and I want her to be happy. But you know what? If something was to happen, there's going to be a loneliness there for me as well. You know, God doesn't get any joy out of casting anybody into torment. He did not get joy sending the rich man into torment. God didn't sit up there and go, ha ha ha, you're in hell now. No, that ain't what God did. God gave that rich man a soul, and he was the one that decided not to believe. It wasn't that the beggar didn't witness to him. Do you think the beggar could have possibly said, rich man, you really need to know who the Lord is? I want to think that Lazarus could have very well witnessed to that rich man, but that didn't make the rich man believe. See, the rich man no doubt was a good man. But let me read the last verse. Verse 21. My mouth shall speak the praise of the Lord. Yeah. See, David's getting back to saying what he's really meaning. My mouth shall speak the praise of the Lord, and let all flesh bless his holy name. Yeah. Let all flesh. Yeah. So is it God's will that anybody go to hell? When he says right here in this verse, and let all flesh bless his holy name forever and ever. So what is God's will? It's God's will for everybody to go to heaven. Yeah. But not everybody is going to go to heaven because they fit in verse number 20. The Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. That's the one verse that stood out of this whole chapter. I can go back and love reading these wonderful verses to the Christian, to the saved. I'm going to pick at random. Y'all seen what I'm doing? I'm going to pick at random. Right there. Verse number 8. I picked it at random. The Lord is gracious. Yeah. Listen to that, y'all. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion. Yeah. I picked that verse at random. Yeah.
If he weren't, Brother Kenny, this earth would have been done long gone.
The Lord is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger, and of great mercy. Yeah. Right there's the message. Yeah. Right there in a nutshell. So can the Lord get joy out of putting people in torment? No. I don't think so. No, not when he created all flesh. And that's what it said right there. And let all flesh bless his holy name. How can a person that is wicked bless his name? It ain't going to happen. And see, God ain't going to look at Deborah's good. Now, God can look at Deborah's good all of the good things she did for her mama and for Gavin and for her daughter and for all the good works and for all the stuff that she did in her life, all the good things. Carolyn, I don't know about all the good things that you did over your lifetime when other people were ugly to you, when you was on the plane ride and somebody maybe was a little snooty to you. You couldn't be snooty to them.
Well,
It was-
because it's my job.
It was your job. There you go. It was your job to not be. It ain't the fact you didn't think it.
Oh yeah.
You probably sat there and thought, you sorry SOB.
Let me show you the back door.
But see, you couldn't do that, Carolyn,
No, I just
because
stuck down
that
too.
was your job to be respectful.
Right.
It's a lawman's job to be respectful. He is to honor me because I'm a citizen. He is not to curse in front of me. He is not to belittle me. He is not to make me look like an idiot. His job is to follow the rules of the road and the law. But when a person goes out on their own and they start getting into flesh, then that's when God says right here, the Lord preserveth all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. So he's going to destroy people by telling them, I don't know you. And I'll be honest with you, y'all, I don't want to be in that position for the Lord to go and say, Kenneth, I don't know you. Does that mean that the Lord doesn't know me?
No.
If he says, I don't know you? Oh no, he knows me very well. He just doesn't know me in salvation. The only way God knows me is if he knows me in salvation. He knows every hair on my head, every thought in my brain, everything I dreamed about last night, which I do not know if I dreamed at all. But he knows everything about me. Everything. So if he knows everything about me, he knows me very well. But if he doesn't know me in salvation, he doesn't know me. He might know my ways. See, the Lord knows our ways, but that doesn't mean that he knows me in salvation. So I'm glad that David spoke up. I'm glad that David said what he said right here. It reminds me that I want to be like David here. I want to have the Psalm of David instead of being in the cave of David. Like one psalm said that he was in the cave of David. That's what the Bible talked about, the heading.
Have an easy life.
You know, it was hard, and I could read that to you.
He had a
And
trouble.
maybe we can read that next Wednesday when we come. I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's what I do know. The Lord is not going to get joy in casting people into torment. That is not his job. His job and his mission is for people to know him. And just like this last verse says, my mouth shall speak of the praise of the Lord. David said that. And let all flesh bless his holy name forever and ever.
Yeah.
So